Welcome to Music and Madness. I'm Tom Owen, your host. It is Monday, another Monday Night Live. Tonight we got some great guests. We're starting out with Christopher Carter. And Christopher is a fascinating world-renowned mentalist, mind reader. He's a master mentalist who has spent decades amazing audiences by revealing what feels impossible. But beyond the mystery, his work reveals something deeper about what we think, how we believe, how easily our minds are guided. He's also an author. Christopher, welcome to Music and Madness.
Well, thank you, Tom. It is great to be on with you.
It is great to meet you, at least on Zoom, and we'll be meeting you hopefully in person here before too long. So
before too long. Yeah, really soon, as a matter of fact.
You've got a show coming up March 13th at 6:30 p.m. at the Mill Playhouse Theater, and shows at 6:30 p.m. Have you been here in the Villages before?
I have been performing in the areas around the Villages, so this will actually be my very first time performing in the Villages.
Okay. Tom, did you say something? Yeah. We'll get rid of that. There we go. Now we all know where Christopher's face is on the Zoom call. Anyway, Christopher, give us a little bit of insight about what people can expect to see a mentalist such as yourself at the Mill.
Absolutely. Well, the show is the closest thing to mind reading that they will ever see in their entire lives. Now, I always say the closest thing to mind reading because really I'm a professional figure-outer. I use a combination of illusions and people reading skills and hypnosis to make it look like I can, just pluck every little thought out of your brain. So if you are the kind of person who goes for things that are freaky, weird, mysterious, and pretty funny, I'm your guy. That's what the show is all about.
Okay. And so you have a lot of audience participation, I assume?
It is nonstop audience participation. As a matter of fact, the centerpiece of the show is what I call my whole audience mind reading. I'm going to ask literally everybody in the entire audience to think of anything that they want to see if I can guess. And then I'm just going to stand people up at random and start to reveal all their personal secrets to everybody. Now, obviously, I keep it clean. I keep it centered. And I really wish I could give you a demonstration of that here and now. I can give you another very cool demonstration, but that requires that kind of face-to-face that the audience interaction is really all about.
Okay. How much of what you do relies on reading people versus just guiding that information out of them?
It's really about 50-50. About half of what I do, you would call profiling or people reading skills, and the other half, people manipulation, getting them to say, think, or do what I want them to do.
Okay. In your experience, what does a mentalist performance reveal about human psychology that people wouldn't realize about themselves?
Well, I think it reveals in a couple of ways. Number one, you really have two types of people when they encounter something that is absolutely beyond their ability to explain. You have some people who just dig into it. They love a mystery. And then you have some people who just hate it, have to know the answer to everything. And so it reveals to you which of those two types of people we're working with in the audience. And the good news is the show's got something for either. I guarantee you're going to come to this show if you're that kind of analytical type and you're going to go away with your brain exploded. And if you're the kind who loves to come along with a mystery, it's got that for you as well.
Have you ever had anybody try to outmind you at one of your own mind reading shows?
It happens at literally every show. And what's so great is the more they try to do that, the easier they are to read, because the way that we protect ourselves reveals an awful lot about a person. So they try to be like super intense. He's not going to read me. But the more you try to fight it, the easier you get to be to read.
So do you ever walk into a party and immediately know exactly what's going on with a bunch of people?
Not immediately. It takes me a few minutes to get to it, but then I will definitely be able to do that. Really, the first 20 minutes of the show are at work in the audience. They're what I guess I would call sort of body language reading stunts. I'm going to have people in the audience just think of playing cards, for example, and by looking at them and quizzing them and reading their poker tells, be able to figure out what playing cards they're thinking of. And then get a little bit more emotionally involved, have them think of their very first crush and begin to ask them to not lie or tell the truth about that person. And I'll begin to know more about them. And while I'm out there in the audience, I'm actually watching everybody else and I'm data collecting. I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to be messing with by the end of the show.
Who's going to be next? Who's your next
exactly
your next candidate? Are you ever able to shut that off in your own mind or not? Or is it just one of those things?
Oh, thank goodness, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank goodness, yes. Can you imagine what it would be like just to walk down the sidewalk? It would be like Mel Gibson in the movie What Women Want, where every little thought, I try to make it look that way. As a matter of fact, it will look that way, but that's not literally how it happens. I have to put myself in the right frame of mind to observe and then catalog all of that information. I use a lot of memory tools and memory techniques to help figure out what's going to play out later on in the show.
So give us a little bit of a background as to what got you into this. What drove you to be a mentalist?
Well, I was a kid magician whose mom was a psychotherapist. And at some point, she decided...
That's a great combination right there. Yeah.
It certainly worked out in my favor. At some point, she decided that I was way too interested in magic and that I should get some other interests. And she sent me to spend summers visiting my great uncle, her uncle. And he was a retired Army colonel. He lived in rural Arkansas. And we hunted and fished. And then I used to watch him play poker. And he sucked. He was awful at it. And every time he had a halfway decent hand, he would spin his wedding band around. So I came home from the summer. I told my mom about it. Like I said, she's a psychotherapist. So she went, great, you have some new interests. And she gave me all these books on personality profiling and people reading and body language. And I said, I can use that information. I can mix that with my magician's or illusionist skills and come up with something that's way beyond your run-of-the-mill card trick. So I did.
How old are you when all this is going on?
I was between 13 and 15 at that time. So it wasn't like just a switch flipped. It was a gradual developing of an interest.
Yeah. And so you took those skills, and obviously, when did you decide to make this your profession?
Well, I went to graduate school thinking that I was going to teach theater. Worked on a PhD in theater at the University of Michigan. It was a time of my life I like to call seemed like a good idea at the time. I got into it, made doctoral candidacy. So I was just about to write my dissertation. I went, I don't want to do this. I really want to be a performer. So I chucked it, moved to Chicago, which is now my hometown, and put up a little shingle, basically an ad in the paper saying I could do shows. And I've been doing it now for 36 years.
Wow. Now, beyond the performance side of this, do you do anything else with that same skill set?
Actually, I do. In addition to being a professional entertainer, I'm also a professional speaker. And really what I do is I teach leaders how to use nonverbal communication to enhance their leadership abilities. But that's not what the show is all about. The show is just crazy amazement.
Yeah. So you're able to take, and so you have a day gig and a night gig, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the two, what's your preference?
I think my preference is definitely doing the show. I absolutely love the reactions that come out of the audience. I love it when people scream and freak out when I reveal something about them that I couldn't possibly know. I mean, that just absolutely makes my day.
What is the absolute weirdest thing that's ever came out of that you can remember? There has to be something.
I busted out a guy who was cheating on his girlfriend.
Ha ha.
And it wasn't even intentional. It was not even intentional. I just kept going back to this woman, and I go, "Who's Tony?" I mean, the name might not have been Tony. I'm just using that as an example. I don't remember what. It's been a long time. I'm like, "Who's Tony? Who's Tony?" And she went, "No, nobody." Now I knew I was onto something. And finally, a little bit later, I realized, you spent the night with Tony, didn't you? And she just freaks out. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then I hear this woman just scream from the other side of the audience, and I went, "Oh, are you Tony's girlfriend?" And she goes, "Yeah." And then I just see a guy get up and bolt out of the room. And I'm pretty sure that was Tony.
So it sounds like a Jerry Springer episode out of that deal.
Most shows don't work that way.
Yeah. So how does it, so you try and read people, obviously, and by reading them, is that what you use to kind of decide what information you want to get out of them, or do you start with that first?
I start with the reading them first. I don't know yet
Yeah.
what information I'm going to get out, but by sizing them up in the audience, I can begin to figure out what kind of information I can get out of them. And the reality is, I can't work easily with everybody. So now I'm mentally picking who the targets are going to be. And they don't know it yet. I mean, they'll find it out in the show. I never let them know until I stand them up. And like I said, I'm not intentionally going to reveal something like that about a person. It happens, not intentionally, but usually it's just hilarious. You get weird things, funny things that they just what's your most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you, and you'll pick up something along those lines. So really, the most important thing about it is that not only is the show just freaky and amazing, it's also really funny.
It sounds hilarious. I can't wait. Looking for people spinning their wedding ring and all kinds of stuff, probably I guess you could find out if they suck at poker that way, or
the funny part is I also suck at poker.
You have to learn to read the minds of the players first. That's probably the key to that. So
and you have to learn how to hide the tells, which I can't do to save my life.
Yes. So you wrote a book. Tell us a little bit about the book you wrote.
I wrote a book called, actually, I've written two books. One is a book of all of my secrets, and that's for the mentalism community, and you can't get your hands on that anymore. It's all gone. And even if it was extremely expensive. And the other is a book called Student Body Language, which is for college students, and it's about how they can use their body language to build stronger friendships, become better student leaders, how to succeed better at their student career just by showing up with more presence and authority.
How difficult is it for somebody to make those changes? If you're able to take in, hey, if you did this, you might be a little stronger, different things. Is that an easy thing to teach, an easy skill set for someone to learn, or do they really have to be dedicated to get something out of it?
No, it's actually an extremely easy skill set for someone to learn, provided they don't try to bite off too much too soon. They have to choose a few core behaviors or areas of behaviors and just work on them a little bit at a time. Too much just makes them incredibly self-conscious, and then they just become their own worst enemy. But a little bit at a time, and you can make amazing changes in almost no time at all.
What comes to mind first that is very, very common for a lot of these young people that they could make that small change? What comes to mind?
The number one thing that comes to mind, and the most important change that I think young people can make, is being fully present, actually making the choice to listen or pay attention to another person in the moment. Because the main reason we don't connect with other people is really that we never paid attention to them in the first place. And there's some body language cues that they can use to focus on that will remind them to do that, and then also signal that presence. For example, what's called fronting, which is just facing directly toward another person, making the right kind of eye contact, leaning in a little bit when somebody's talking to you about something that's important to them. So those three little behaviors, if they just practice them, not only is it going to look like they're present, but also it's going to remind them to actually be present. And of course, the other one is put away the phone.
Put away the phone, right? Because that's they're all from the texting world and the email world,
that's
and
the biggest distraction they face completely.
Yeah, just setting that aside.
You know what? It's
huge.
Not just young people, Tom. It's older people too.
Good deal. Well, is there anything that you want to take and have the audience be prepared for besides what you've already told us?
Well, it's not like they have to prepare for the show. They just have to prepare to have a really amazing and fun time. I don't know what your time frame is. You have time for a little mind reading game?
I do. Yeah.
Let's try it. Now, this is not as amazing as the stuff that's going to happen in the show, but it's kind of cool. So I'm going to hold up a little pack of cards here. And by the way, they're going to be in front of you the entire time. And also, I'm not going to try to read your mind. In a way, you're going to try to read mine. Right. So what I'd like you to do is just imagine that you have spread across the table in front of you a pack of cards, and they're all there.
Okay.
And in your mind, see yourself reach down and you touch just one of them, but don't make it the ace of spades because that's just too common. Everybody goes for that. Out loud for me and everybody, what is the color of this card? Is it red or black?
It's red.
Good choice. And now imagine you're pulling it out of the pack, and if it's red, it's got to be either a diamond or a heart. So what's the suit? Is it a diamond or a heart?
It is a heart.
It's a heart. Now, I know you know this, but not everybody does. There are 13 hearts. Ace is the lowest, king is the highest, all the picture cards, all the number cards.
Right.
You see that one, and now you turn it face down and you slide it back into the pack. So it's the only one face down. All the others are face up.
Okay.
Now, in a minute, I'm going to have you tell me and everybody which exact heart it is that you imagined you did that to, but I'm also going to give you a chance to change your mind. I don't want you feeling like you're stuck with one choice.
Okay.
So one heart is face down. Which one is it?
So you want me to tell you what the card was?
Yeah, everybody.
7 of hearts.
7 of hearts. Now, I said I'd give you a chance to change your mind. This is the only chance you're going to get. You can stick with the 7 if you want, or if you want, you can change it to any other heart. Keep or change.
I'm going to stick with it.
Final answer, 7 of hearts?
Final answer, 7 of hearts.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm going to show you this as slowly as I know how. I asked you to imagine, and by the way, this is really important that I have not told you any particular card, correct?
Correct.
I asked you to imagine that you're spreading a pack of cards in front of you and that you take just one of them and you flip it face down. I already did that. It's the only one. You could have changed your mind. You said 7 of hearts?
Yep.
That is a
there it is. 7 of hearts.
Good choice.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah,
Now, as I said, that's not as amazing as the stuff that's going to happen in the show. It's just a little bit of a teaser, and I just love it. It's fun.
That sounds, I love it when people, because I know exactly what you're talking about. Is as soon as you start that, my mind's going, how am I going to outwit you? And you're going, no, I got this covered. And have you ever been wrong?
Yes, but here's the good news. You barely notice it. As long as I'm wrong, I make a little joke out of it and I make a sideways transition. So think of this as like the ultimate game of 20 questions, only instead of getting it done in 20, I get it done in like 3.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. And it's an hour and a half show, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a 90-minute show.
Okay. And it's going to be at the Millhouse Theater. It's going to be on March 13th. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. And Christopher, I absolutely love you coming on my show and telling people a little bit about what you do and a little bit of background, and look forward to seeing you. I'm sure I'll see you at the Millhouse Theater. And like I said, it's been an incredible conversation, and I thank you for pulling back the curtain just a little bit. Not enough where people know what you're doing, but enough that they'll at least be drawn in. I was very anxious to see that 7 of hearts, and you had it. So I can.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being on with you.